plays the following 2 games. For the Bills, Jim Kelly, frustration came week 2 when Buffalo was smothered by the Dolphins 30-7. But the Bills rebounded last Monday night, giving both these teams 2-1 records. Both Denver and Buffalo boast phenomenal offensive weapons at quarterback and running back. The NFL's number 2 rusher is Bronco Bobby Humphrey with 285 yards in 3 games. Number 1 in the NFL is the Bills' Thurman Thomas, who ran for 214 yards against the Jets Monday night. At wide receiver, 2 showcase players are featured. Denver's Vance Johnson is a game breaker whose heroics have helped the Broncos in both their victories this year. While Andre Reed of Buffalo is simply one of the very best in the game. A showcase indeed as coaches Dan Reeves and Marv Levy are ready to match strategies in the NFL's Game of the Week.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Denver Broncos versus the Buffalo Bills.
Overcast in Buffalo. There has been rain this morning. The field is wet. It appears to be clearing now as the Broncos and the Bills are ready to tee it up. Good afternoon, everyone. On a big game day in Buffalo, Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. A year ago, the Broncos came in here on a Monday night as an underdog and soundly beat the Bills 28-14. And the Bronco players say that was a turning point in their season. It really brought them together, kicked them to a higher level for a run at the Super Bowl. The quarterbacks, Trump, get a lot of press. Kelly and Elway, and well, they should, but these teams would like to run the ball if they can.
No question about it, and they have the people to run the ball, too. Of course, the running game keeps the defense honest and keeps the pressure off the quarterback. And for the Denver Broncos, Bobby Humphrey has been a whale of a find. He's got 2 straight 100-yard rushing performances. His average carry last week probably overshadowed by Thurman Thomas and his performance on Monday night, close to 12 yards a carry. These 2 guys must keep the other team's defense honest.
The Bills' defense is called non-stop pressure by Coach Walt Corey, their defensive coordinator. He wants the heat on the opposing QB all game long. They got the guys that can keep it on.
Oh, man, these guys are a double dose of disaster. You got Biscuit Cornelius Bennett on the outside, on one side, and Bruce Smith on the other side. And, of course, one of the secrets to stopping Denver is keeping Elway in the pocket. Walt Corey thinks these 2 guys can get the job done.
The Broncos probably have the best set of safeties in the National Football League, and Steve Atwater and Dennis Smith, they both were out with injuries last week against Seattle. Today, they're both back.
Yeah, these guys are as big as linebackers. They play all over the field, and Smith has the sprained ankle still bothering him, but he's fine. Atwater has the pulled muscle in his ribcage, and he's okay, and that's got to make Denver fans feel good. Both those guys are there.
Broncos come in again as an underdog this year, but John Elway says we're confident we can move the ball on Buffalo. And now the Denver Broncos, as you look at Coach Dan Reeves, are ready to receive to start the game. They've won the toss. Bills getting set to kick it off. There's Coach Marv Levy of the Buffalo Bills in his 4th full season as head coach of the Bills. Dan Reeves now in his 10th year as the head man of the Broncos. Alton Montgomery and Sammy Winder are back deep. Last year it was 28-14. Second game of the season. Denver the victor. Here's the kickoff downfield. Winder is backpedaling into his end zone, and he'll not bring it out. So John Elway and the Broncos will go on offense 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. Over the years, the Broncos are 3-3 here at Buffalo. Gerald Perry at left tackle. Reeves says he could be a great player. Jariga, Kartz, Waddell, and Lanier, the rest of the offensive line. Elway at quarterback. Steve Sewell, standout pass catcher out of the backfield. Bobby Humphrey, the runner. When the passing downs come, Ricky Nattil and Michael Young will come in to join Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson. Tight end Clarence Kay. They'll go to double tight end sets a lot with Mobley in. And running the ball is Bobby Humphrey. They run counters and a lot of draw plays to Humphrey. Jeff Wright and Leon Seals were on the stop. There's the defensive front. Bruce Smith, consensus all-pro at right end. He'll be all over the field. Bennett, Conlon, Bentley, and Talley, 4 terrific linebackers. In the secondary, Jackson and Odoms are at the corners. Leonard Smith, a hard hitter, and Mark Kelso are the deep backs. Chris Hale and the rookie #1 draft choice, James Williams, will come in the nickel package. Looks like Gerald Perry, the left tackle, is injured, Trump. Gerald Perry shaken up. Now this is a tackle that's going to spend most of the day, if he's okay, going against Buffalo's best rusher, Bruce Smith. But right now Perry coming off, apparently turned his ankle. Dan Reeves absolutely raving about this kid, Trump, about where he's going to be as a player. He said he could be as good as anybody to ever play the position that he's been around, that Dan Reeves has been around.
Major problem because the Denver Broncos are not deep. The Denver Broncos are not deep at offensive line, and the injury to Perry is a huge problem for them on the first play.
So after a 4-yard run by Bobby Humphrey, the Broncos now go 2nd down and 6. Here's Elway against a big rush. Gets the ball away. Nicely done as he gets it to Orson Mobley. A huge tight end. Big rush. Cornelius Bennett was coming on a blitz on the left side, and Elway very coolly stood in and then led his tight end perfectly. Very close to a 1st down. It looks like the nose of the ball will be just short.
You can see what the Buffalo Bills are going to start with today. They're going to immediately put pressure on John Elway as best they can. That time Cornelius Bennett untouched, but they still make the completion.
3rd down and about a foot. Broncos have really developed a power running game. And here's the race. Bobby Humphrey, he dives across the 30, and it looks like he's just got the 1st down for Denver. Bruce Smith was on the tackle. Bobby Humphrey, now in his 2nd year from Alabama, 6'1", 200 pounds. He was the NFL Rookie of the Year in '89. He's run the ball this season, as you see, 55 times coming into this game. The rest of the team combined has run it 25 times, so he's it for the running game. We apologize, Mr. Trumpy's mic not in working order. Is it going now, Trump?
I think so.
You're ready. Here's Elway on a sprint out. The rush is coming. Elway downfield with a perfect throw, and that's the matchup that the Broncos wanted to get. Steve Sewell against Smith, the Buffalo strong safety, Leonard Smith.
They can do that out of formation, where they can single Steve Sewell with Leonard Smith. Now, Leonard Smith is a great tackler, but out there as a cornerback, that's a tremendous mismatch. You can see he's going to give an awful lot of ground. That's a 17-yard completion. That's something that Denver is looking for and will go to all day long. That is a matchup that the Bills cannot win today. Sewell on Smith.
Steve Sewell again is out wide against Leonard Smith at the top of your screen, as the Broncos moving the ball nicely in their opening possession. Humphrey. And Bobby Humphrey breaks through the Buffalo defense inside the 45-yard line. Invariably, they go to Humphrey on 1st and 10 plays. Ray Bentley filled and made the stop at linebacker.
On the change on the offensive line is 69, Darrell Hamilton in for Gerald Perry. We have no idea what the injury is to Gerald Perry, but you see the cutback by Bobby Humphrey that Dan Reeves loves. Great sight as a running back. That old line about running the daylight. This kid does it in grand fashion.
Now they bring Sewell into the backfield. Open set behind Elway. On a 2nd down and 3. Sewell. He appears to have yet another Denver 1st down. John Elway told us yesterday that the offensive line of this Denver team is the best he's seen since he's been with the Broncos, now in his 8th year. But as pointed out, Gerald Perry went out on the first play from scrimmage with what appeared to be an ankle injury. Limped off. Whether or not we'll see him back, we haven't heard yet.
He's trying to walk it off on the sideline, and he certainly realizes his importance in the game plan against Buffalo, stopping Bruce Smith.
Okay.
1st down and 10 for the Broncos. No score, 1st quarter. Draw play. Humphrey. And Bobby Humphrey breaks it inside the 30-yard line. He gains 12 yards and another Bronco 1st down. So the Broncos just dismantling the Bills defense, a 12-yard gain.
And you mentioned earlier that the Broncos like to run a lot of things, including the draw from behind the defense. You'll see the way this sets up. There's nothing fancy about it. Good lead block by Sewell, 30 on Shane Conlon. And with Bobby Humphrey, you can't tackle him with your arms. You got to hit him with his shoulder.
4 carries so far.
25 yards for Humphrey.
And the Broncos drive on after taking the opening kickoff, starting from their 20. Sewell on a slant. And good news for the Broncos, Gerald Perry is back in the game at left tackle. So apparently he walked off whatever the injury was. Big number 60, Gerald Perry, 295 pounds.
Who Dan Reeves complimented a great deal last night when we talked with him. He said that he's gotten his life together off the field, and is a changed personality and is a big contributor to this offensive line. But still, first play of the game, something goes wrong. He's still limping, too. He is limping big time on his right leg. So I don't know if he's healthy enough to handle Bruce Smith.
They got Bruce Smith right over him now. As you see, second down. Broncos need 8. Play fake. Elway throws to the open man. Sewell out of the backfield. And he's down inside the 20, down close to the 16-yard line. Take a look now, Trump, at Gerald Perry. See how he's moving.
9-yard completion there. They're rolling away from Bruce Smith. Let's see if we can see any effect on this. And he lets Bruce Smith inside. You don't want to do that. But the completion is made, and he's not healthy. He's out there going on guts right now. Hoping this thing works itself out. We don't know if it's an ankle or knee injury, but it's a big injury.
Elway going to a shorter pass route offense. He threw 40 times in the win over Seattle last Sunday at Mile High. A lot of short routes. Fake. Humphrey, delayed draw, and Bobby Humphrey is down to the 5-yard line. On a 1st and 10 play, Humphrey rips through the Bills for a 10-yard gain, and Nate Odom starts up. In his wisdom, he could soon be out of the game with an ejection, going after an offensive lineman. A 12-yard gain on the play.
Well, they caught Buffalo in a blitz.
Kay, the tight end, was mixing it up.
Shane Conlon, 58, comes right up the middle. They run the draw right by him. Watch 58. Again, a good block by Steve Sewell. And Humphrey just goes around that block. Well, this has been relatively easy for the Bronco offense against this defense.
Broncos slicing the Bills defense apart on this opening drive. First down and goal, Denver. Humphrey down to the 1-yard line. Very tied together in cohesion offensive blocking by the Broncos. Cornelius Bennett, 97, made the stop.
Interesting thing that Denver does is their offensive linemen stand up, and they give the running backs the option to find the hole themselves. And they just basically take the defense where it wants to go on an awful lot of occasions. They take very tight splits, and they try to hide that running back behind these huge offensive linemen, and it works.
Power set. Bobby Humphrey, close, and he's in.
How about that for a start? 80-yard drive. Whoa.
So the Broncos go through the Bills looking like Super Bowl winners. Absolutely standout play by Denver.
Look at this push. Mel Bratton with a good block. Bruce Smith was knocked all the way back in the end zone. Once that ball crosses the plane of the goal line, it is a score.
And in that opening drive, Trump, we have a long way to go, but the Bills gave no indication they could stop anything Denver does. We knew they wanted the matchup of Sewell against the free safety Leonard Smith. They got big plays out of that. But they got it with their base offense. The Bobby Humphrey runs, and now the extra point by Pro Bowler David Treadwell is up and good. With 8:10 to play in the first quarter, the Bills have not yet had the ball, and the Broncos move out to a 7-0 lead. We'll be back with the Denver kickoff in a moment.
Don, the most impressive part of that, Bobby Humphrey had 7 carries for 41 yards. That's close to 6 yards a carry on the opening drive of the game.
Check that Bobby Humphrey haircut. His teammate Mel Bratton does the cutting. Bratton broke his finger last week. Humphrey said he might fire him till it gets better. Here's a kick downfield. They send a bouncer at the Buffalo Bills. Picking up the ball is Don Smith, and he takes it out across. He's not done yet. Smith is all the way out to the 30-yard line. So now, as down to make the play was Randy Robbins, number 48 for Denver. The Bills come out, and let's see what Kelly and his offense can do. Glenn Parker starting at left tackle for injured Will Wolford, one of the Bills' best linemen. Parker is a very good rookie. Richer, Hall's a Pro Bowler. On the right side, Davis and Ballard. Thurman Thomas, the NFL's leading rusher. Jamie Mueller's his blocker. Lofton and Reed, the wide receivers. Metzlar's the tight end, will come out on the 3-wide set. Don Smith will come in the backfield. Steve Tasker will go to wide receiver. Kelly fires on first down. Wide open man. He makes the connection to James Lofton. First down, Buffalo. A 12-yard gain on the play. Bills go into that hurry-up offense. They've been using it more and more. Going into alignment without a huddle. The fans like that. One of the biggest NFL crowds of the year. 80,000 are here at Rich Stadium. Been long sold out. Trying to keep the Broncos from making defensive changes. Here's a carry by Thurman Thomas. On a first down play, he's ahead to about the 42-yard line.
Kelly told us also that he likes the hurry-up offense, especially here in Buffalo, because the fans like it so much. He's trying to kick-start the offense and lock the defense into one coverage.
Still in that hurry-up. Bills did not huddle. Elway's concerned. He calls a lot of audibles, but this crowd can take you out. And here's a rush on Kelly. He gets away. Simon Fletcher had him and lost him, and now Kelly's out to the 44-yard line. Simon Fletcher put the big heat on Jim Kelly, and then a rookie, Jim Szymanski from Michigan State, a 10th round draft choice, who's starting.
I don't know how Fletcher misses him. Kelly is a big quarterback and got great leg strength, but Simon Fletcher just missed him cleanly, and Szymanski cleans up, and the Bills go right back to the line of scrimmage.
Now play call, third down. The Bills need almost 8. Kelly gets time, runs out of it, gets the ball away, and it's not even close, and the Buffalo Bills have to punt it.
Boy, it was great coverage by Denver. Outstanding coverage by Denver. You can see Jim Kelly look like he's going to throw it, bring it back about 3 or 4 times. He had no receiver even close to being open.
Kyle Mecklenburg, Trump, got some heat on Kelly. He forced that errant throw, and the coverage, as you point out, was very good. Rick Tootin into punt now. Vance Johnson is back to return it. Denver leads the game 7-0. An 80-yard 12-play drive to open the ball game. Here's Vance Johnson with room to run. Buffalo's normally effective special teams have been short-circuited by poor punting this season. So the Broncos, as some boos start to cascade down, send their offense back out. A 36-yard punt, but a net of 22. A 14-yard return by Vance Johnson. Elway set to go to work again. 80,000 look on. Sun breaking through now as Elway leads the Broncos again. Humphrey running hard, and he's not done till he gets across the 40-yard line on a first down carry. A gain of about 6 yards on the play. Leon Seals, number 96, having a big year at left end, made the tackle. But on every down, Trump, these Broncos get plus yardage.
Yeah, the offensive line performance by the Denver Broncos to this point in the game, unbelievably impressive. They're standing right up and pushing these guys right off the line of scrimmage. Of course, the inexperienced part of this defense is at the nose tackle inside. Seals and the nose tackle don't really have a lot of years. Jeff Wright.
Elway on a sprint out, takes a look, and John Elway dances ahead for a first down and steps out. Shane Conlon ran him out of bounds along the other inside linebacker. Elway's stronger than he's ever been. He's been on a weight program, but he's the lightest he's been since he's been in the NFL. Told us yesterday he's down to about 211.
Had an excellent preseason, had a good offseason, got away from Denver for a while, kind of rejuvenated his thoughts. The secret to this point in the ball game, Don, first down yardage by the Broncos. They can get 6 or 7 yards per first down, and the defense of the Bills can't turn their pass rush loose.
Another first down for Denver. Broncos lead 7-0. They've owned the ball here in the first quarter. Humphrey looks for room to dance and gets across the 50 down to the 47-yard line. Bobby Humphrey was passed up by 16 other teams when he went in the supplemental draft because of foot injuries at Alabama.
And I mentioned the tight splits by the offensive line and the just stand up, take them where they want to go approach by this offensive line. It's certainly worked. They're pushing them all over the place. That time you saw Bruce Smith standing up almost as like a middle linebacker.
Look at these numbers for Humphrey now. 9 carries already.
53 yards.
Bobby Humphrey comes in averaging over 5 yards a carry for the season. He talked about how all these teams passed him up. Dan Reeves said it was really our doctors who finalized the decision we were going to take, and they said his foot won't be a problem.
And the fact that he just doesn't have that blazing speed as a running back.
And as Reeves said, if he did have that blazing speed, we wouldn't have him. One of the other 16 that Tass would have taken him even with a foot problem. Bobby Humphrey rips into open field and takes it down to the 29-yard line. Free ball. Buffalo has it. If indeed it's a fumble, he wasn't down first. Nate Odoms was on the ball. We'll see or not whether they rule that it was a fumble.
No signal yet.
17-yard run by Bobby Humphrey.
Bob McElwee is the referee, and I haven't seen a signal yet, Don.
Looks like the Bills have the ball. They do. Nate Odoms comes up with it. Number 37.
But now they finally give a signal that it's Buffalo's ball. They get the defense spread out all over the field, Don, and Buffalo comes in with the extra defensive backs, and there's just no one there to stop. Yeah, that's a fumble, no question about it.
Kelso looked like he may have stripped the ball. Mark Kelso, the free safety. So a turnover stops this Denver drive when again the Broncos were moving the ball as if they were unstoppable. They were on that opening drive. 80 yards, 12 plays. Humphrey on the payoff end for the touchdown.
Being reviewed, was one of his knees down? That's going to be the big question. Oh, the play stands. Bob McElwee says the play stands. Again, Leonard Smith, 46-38. Kelso make the hit, no question. Ball is loose. Turnover to Buffalo.
Bills' second possession. You'll remember they got a 12-yard pass play for a first down to Lofton. That was it for their first offense. Now Thurman Thomas looks for room and finds some. He's out to about the 32-yard line. Gain of just about 3. Carl Mecklenburg, who's been to the Pro Bowl 4 of the last 5 years. Number 77 for the Broncos, was on the stop. Front 7, Powers, Cragen, and Szymanski. Fletcher, Munford, Michael Brooks, who had 20 tackles in last Sunday's game with Seattle, and Mecklenburg. Brooks is a player to watch, number 56. Smith and Henderson at the corners. Smith and Atwater are back as the safeties. Then you saw the extra people that come in when they go to their 7-man defensive alignment. 7 defensive backs. Kelly swings it out. This is Jamie Mueller. Blockers in front of Mueller, who's not fast, but he's strong. Takes it very close to a first down. Be 3rd and short if he didn't get there. Let's check the 10-minute ticker. Nothing up for the Giants and Cowboys. Miami's gone in front of the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Detroit up on the Green Bay Packers. Tampa Bay's Gary Anderson scored at Minneapolis. Bucks lead the Vikings 7-0 in the first quarter. Same number we have here. The Broncos in front of the Bills 7-0. Here's a measurement. Broncos trump a very confident team. That was evident from Dan Reeves through every player you talk to. They know if they hang in, they have an ability to win close games. Last 2 weeks they had big fourth quarter leads, 28-14 over Seattle last week. The week before, 21-9 over Kansas City, and then had a rally to win.
Well, I think the offense of the Broncos realized too that because the defense is hurt, they got to score and score often to protect this defense. And opening drive of this game certainly bodes well for the Denver Broncos.
Kelly says something to Lofton, who's at the top of your screen as the wide receiver. Kelly's looking that way. Here's the throw. James Lofton can't quite get to the ball. Wide open. Kelly let him a little too much. He'll be going back to that. James Lofton, who at one time was a first-team All-Pro for the Green Bay Packers. For a while, a couple of years, he might have been the best player in the NFL at any position. He was that good.
This kid has not missed a game in his career. That's the double rotation zone. Corners up, safeties out. I have a feeling that Buffalo is going to try to take advantage of 28 Elliott Smith, 24 Wyman Henderson all day. Both Plan B players.
Bills got Lofton. He was waived by the Raiders. Thurman Thomas shows his stuff as he darts in and gets ahead for a gain of almost 10 yards on a second down play. The over 9 yards where they spot the ball and brings up 3rd down and less than 1. Atwater, the strong safety, made the stop.
Certainly don't want to shortchange the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills. I consider one of the best. Big lead block by Jamie Mueller, 41. It's the defensive linebacker on his stomach, and Thurman Thomas, of course, very quick, excellent receiver, and sure-handed too.
Very good pass catcher. 3rd and 1. Extra tight ends in. They go to Jamie Mueller, and he gets there. He needed a yard, and he got 2. And so the Bills get a first down. Andre Townsend, number 61, was in the game. He was the first hitter.
Townsend's not played in a while. Had foot problems. Of course, Jamie Mueller. You see Townsend down there in the middle of that huddle. This is not a huge defensive line, but it's a one-gap defense. And a one-gap defense, you don't take on the whole man in front of you. You're responsible for a gap on either side of you. so they can be small and still be effective.
Kelly played fake, buys some time, open man downfield, and it's almost picked off. He had Lofton running free, and he also had one of the tight ends, Keith McKellar, running free, but the ball was off target. There is a strong crosswind here in western New York. It's going to affect the kicking game and the deep throwing game.
Now that was zone coverage by the Denver Broncos, and frankly Jim Kelly should have thrown that ball a little better. That would have been an easy completion. To this point he's 2 of 5 for 18 yards, but that's one he should have had right there.
See Old Glory straight out in the wind, and it'll pick up. Good playing conditions. Sun breaking through. Kelly throws on second down. He has an open man, and nicely done. Thurman Thomas turns out on Steve Dennis Smith and makes the reception. A 12-yard gain by Thomas and a first down for Buffalo.
Now you see both offenses doing the same thing. Out of formation and motion, they're trying to get the safeties to cover running backs. The Denver Broncos did it. Sewell on Leonard Smith. This time you see Thurman Thomas do it on Dennis Smith, the strong safety, not used to being out there in single coverage.
Mueller gets the ball. Free ball, and the Broncos have it. Jamie Mueller, who doesn't get much work carrying the ball, has it knocked free, and the Broncos are on it. Cornerback Elliott Smith, number 28. And the Bills are stopped as Smith makes the fumble recovery.
It looks like Greg Craig in the nose tackle. 71 makes the first contact, and the ball is already loose. Yeah, it's Craig and 71 at the bottom of the pile. Somehow it pops loose. Turnover is now even. Denver has the ball back. Let's see if we can see again. See, Craig beats Kent Hull, the center, and pops that ball loose. And the cornerback Elliott Smith right there for the recovery.
Broncos have always been well schooled at stripping the ball. Mueller had both arms on it.
As part of the Oldsmobile Edge, standard on every new Olds, we give you 30 days or 1,500 miles to return your new Olds for any reason. Who says you can't get any satisfaction?
This is the new generation of Olds.
Stopped a Bills drive as they were moving the ball well on Denver, so the Broncos, who lost it on a fumble their last possession, take over again. Their third possession now for Denver. Broncos lead the game 7-0. Humphrey having a big day, and it gets bigger as he runs ahead for more yards. Now out to about the 39-yard line. Now let's go to NFL Live and Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Don, last Sunday against the Giants, as they were completely thwarted by the New York defense, Miami kept the ball for only 90 seconds in the first quarter. Here, on their first drive against Pittsburgh, they have it for 17 plays, better than 8 minutes. Sammy Smith goes over from the 1, and they lead 7-0 at Three Rivers. Don?
Thank you, Bob. Dolphins developing a good running game after all those years of just the throw. Here's Elway with a fastball, but it comes in on the one hop. He played in the Yankee organization one after his junior year at Stanford. John Elway played outfield for the Oneonta Farm Club in central New York State and was very serious about baseball at one point.
It looked like Cornelius Bennett gets his hand up. This is a quick 3-step drop by John Elway. You should look from behind the defense, right behind Ray Bentley, number 50. Here we go. Bennett just tipped that ball away.
They're down as the Bills bring their defenders up tight to bump at the line of scrimmage. Here's the rush on Elway. John Elway can go, and he's on his way. John Elway sprints ahead for the first down and slides to a halt as John Elway makes big things happen. The coverage was good, the rush was on, and Elway does it himself. A 13-yard gain and a Bronco first down.
Actually, the Buffalo Bills do a great job here. They stay in their pass rush lanes. You'll see Smith on this side, Bennett on the other side. Now the inside guys, Seals and Fields, are supposed to contain him. Or, excuse me, Jeff Wright. But Elway, very, very quick afoot, very nifty, is able to avoid the inside pass rushers for a big pickup and another first down.
36, and Elway got 13 on the run. Penalty marker. Sammy Winder runs the ball and doesn't get much. In fact, he may have lost a yard. Bruce Smith struck him head on.
Don, I think something happened to Bobby Humphrey. Now he's coming back in, but he went out for a play and he was limping a little bit. Illegal motion. There he is. We got Gerald Perry with a bad ankle, and now Humphrey.
2 minutes motion. Offense. Penalty decline. Second down.
28 seconds to play in the first quarter. The Broncos took the opening drive 80 yards on 12 plays.
Don, here's the offensive formation now that Humphrey had the big draw play on. There are 2, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs in the ball game. This is when they gave it to Humphrey for the draw for the big play.
Second and 12, and a draw play it is as Humphrey gets ahead for a gain of about 5 yards. He's outside and inside the 45-yard line of the Bills, down to the 44.
It certainly looks like what they're going to do is anytime Buffalo gets in that nickel package, Humphrey's going to be firing up through there.
So there's timeout on the field at the end of the first quarter with the Denver Broncos in the lead 7-0.
And 2, if you get through the line of scrimmage, it's a 25-yard gain. There's nobody there defensively to make the tackle. Here it is again.
Broncos need 7, as you see. Third down.
Blitz.
Elway. Hard throw, but there's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. And these guys are really starting up after Leon Seals and Doug Weidel were knocking each other around.
No play.
Play is negated. Illegal motion against the Broncos before the snap of the ball. They'll get a 5-yard penalty and have to do the play over.
This is Susan Erlab and Mr. Neil Ritz. Please report to Southside Security. Susan Erlab.
Well, it certainly looks like Denver's going to stay.
15 minutes even.
Yeah, that was a dead ball play, so it's got to go back. It's as if the ball was never snapped. But Denver is staying with this offensive set. Look, they got the 4 wide receivers, and Buffalo has its standard defense in, so now this is where you throw.
Buffalo brings almost 8 people onto the line with the cornerbacks up tight. Smith came early. Replay indeed for John Elway. Downfield throw, and it's a connection to Ricky Nattiel inside the 30 and down to the 27-yard line of the Bills. It'll go.
Don, the Bills defensive backs drop coverage. 22 yards on the catch.
Offside. And 97 defense. Penalties decline. First down.
Boy, I tell you,
Bennett looked like Smith jumped.
you had your choice. Here's the receiver that catches the ball, but watch the defensive backs drop coverage. I think they see that it's a free play after they jump off sides. Elway, with plenty of time, stays looking for Nattiel. When he breaks across, wide open.
Humphrey taken down by Cornelius Bennett and Ray Bentley. Bennett with that great speed. They align him all over. He'll be on either side. They don't want to give the blockers any primary indication of where he's going to line up, and Smith is moving around a lot more this year.
Well, that's Humphrey's 11th carry, and he's approaching 75 yards already rushing in this game.
We'll check the scoreboard after the next play, as right now the ball is positioned at the Bills' 28-yard line. Second down and 9 coming up for the Broncos. Elway fakes. Here comes the rush. Good throw by Elway, but Bratton couldn't make the turn and the catch, so it's incomplete. As we check the 10-minute ticker now, Mel Bratton from Miami of Florida. Pittsburgh now down by 14 points as the Steelers, through a 4th week of play, with yet an offensive touchdown scored by their team. Detroit leading Green Bay. Colts up on the favored Eagles. Tampa Bay continues to lead. Here in Buffalo at 7-0 Denver in the second quarter. Broncos went 12 plays, 80 yards in the opening drive. Bobby Humphrey from a yard out for the touchdown. Third down. Elway and the Bronx need almost 10. Draw play, and they stuff it. Bills read it all the way. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle, 91.
Well, they finally stop it. They got the same formation.
It's a tough field goal try now for Treadwell.
But still, they run the same formation, try to spread the defense out. They got 6 defensive backs in the ball game, and Jeff Wright is unblocked. There to get Bobby Humphrey. That's the first minus yardage the Denver Broncos have had today.
Gary Kubiak will hold a 50-yard attempt for David Treadwell, who led the American Conference in scoring last year and went to the Pro Bowl.
This would be a great spot for a fake.
Kubiak's the quarterback. Block. Bills have the ball. James Williams, the rookie top draft choice, takes it out across the 40 and gets it to the 45-yard line. And that really keys the Buffalo team, and 80,000 who are up and cheering.
Darryl Talley makes the block.
So the Bills stop the Broncos drive, and Buffalo goes on offense when we come back.
And just brought back this week. He goes outside too quickly. Talley makes the block.
Talley, the Bills say, grades out as one of the 2 or 3 best players in the team every season. Never seems to get the credit outside of Buffalo as the Broncos sweep under. Thurman Thomas trying to go wide, and Denver was reading 34 all the way. Carl Mecklenburg was on the play along with Steve Atwater. Boy, Atwater's the kind of guy you want in your team. He shows up smiling. Just can't wait to play, can he?
Yeah, he told us last night that last year he played at 217. This year he weighs 220. Picked up some strength and some speed. And this guy's a prototype. I mean, everybody'd like to have one of him at least.
Went to Arkansas. He's from St. Louis. His mother was from Arkansas, and he's always fond of the state and the school. Here's Kelly throwing wide open and losing the ball as the tight end, Keith McKellar, right in his hands. Now let's go to NFL.
In Philadelphia, the Colts trailing the Eagles 3-0. Jack Trudeau goes to work. Little flip out to Albert Bentley. He gets some good blocks, and he does some spectacular running. It's a 73-yard play and leads to a 5-yard Trudeau to Jesse Hester touchdown pass. And the Colts, without Eric Dickerson, and this week without Jeff George, leads 7-3 at Philly.
Thank you, Bob. Now the Bills go to the shotgun. They're down at 11. Lofton with a spectacular catch. James Lofton extending himself and takes it to the 37-yard line. An 18-yard gain on the play.
Wyman Henderson was the man in coverage, and Denver had the 47 defense in there. 4 rushers, 7 defensive backs. Kelly's looking all over the field. He finds single coverage over here, and Lofton with a very acrobatic catch for the first down.
So that keeps the Bills' drive alive. You remember their last sustained drive. Mueller fumbled the ball. He hasn't been back in since on offense. Here's a throw and a catch. With the ball is Andre Reed, an all-pro player last season, and he's inside of the 19-yard line. A gain of 18 yards on the play as Kelly, with a great fake, looks off the Denver defenders and then throws a strike to number 83.
Well, is this guy an all-pro? He's averaged 60-plus catches and 6 touchdowns a year for his career. And that really was a non-pattern. Just zone coverage. He goes up the seam, and Kelly finds him.
He's been terrific against Denver at 13 catches for almost 160 yards against the Broncos a year ago, did Andre Reed. So the Bills now their first scoring threat. To the run they go, and Thurman Thomas is stopped as the Broncos, with a good defensive game plan, fill the gap. Big Warren Powers knocks down Thurman Thomas.
Along with Michael Brooks. 56.
Michael Brooks, 56 from LSU. Bill Arnsparger, the longtime Miami Dolphin defensive coordinator, later the head coach at LSU, said Michael Brooks was the best linebacking prospect he's ever seen. Then he had a serious knee injury in college. Now he's come back and is looking better than ever.
Last year he played outside and was a little lost. Inside he can just hammer people. And he's done that a lot so far.
Credited with 20 tackles against the Seahawks a week ago. Kelly on second down lost it into the end zone. Reed had a step on the defender, but Kelly just had to release the ball as the Broncos had a big rush on him. Warren Powers was coming hard.
Actually, that's a positive play. The Bills do not throw the interception. The blitz gets through there. You see Mecklenburg 77, Powers 91, but it just falls harmlessly into the end zone. Kelly now 5 of 10 for 67 yards. And you give that one to the defense and go back to your game plan.
Tough call now for Kelly and the Bills as the Broncos show blitz. And it's coming as Kelly drops back on 3rd and 10 and cannot make the connection. And so the Bills drive stalls and they'll send their kicker out. James Lofton, the intended receiver, but the Broncos had blitz pressure at Jim Kelly at the snap of the ball.
It sure looks like Denver is trying to double cover Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed and leave James Lofton in single coverage, and that's the guy that Kelly is looking for most consistently.
Scott Norwood has hit 7 of 10 field goal attempts this season. One of the NFL's most consistent place kickers. 37-yard attempt. He spins it up. Goes to hits the crossbar, and it's no good. So the Bills come away with nothing, and the Broncos continue to lead the game 7-0 with 9:59 to play in the first half. Back after this.
Right where you want it. The hold is good. Norwood may have thought himself out of that one, thinking the wind might hook it a little bit. It hits the upright. And frankly, from that distance, I don't think the wind is any factor. Hey, you see the flags outside the stadium blowing against that kick, but on the uprights blowing with it.
Swirling wind. At the moment, Bobby Humphrey is the NFL's leading rusher. He has 76 yards and 14 carries a day. As he runs again, penalty marker comes in. Could be an offensive holding call as the umpire threw in the flag. Shane Conlon, 58, was on the stop. Thurman Thomas has only 12 yards on 5 carries for the Bills. Humphrey, that was his 15th carry for he's about 80 yards now. That play will come back.
Holding. 66. Offense. 10 yards. First down.
Jim Juriga, the left guard, was called for the hold.
It's going to be interesting to see what Buffalo does here defensively. Do they put in the extra defensive backs? When they have, Denver's taking good advantage of it. Look, they're staying with their standard defense. Straight 34 defense. They got to rely on the pass rush here.
Elway with that extra dimension that sets him apart, his ability to run. We saw him do it on a 3rd down play before for a first down. To the draw, and the Bills shut it down. Humphrey gets ahead for some, but not much. He's to about the 14-yard line on a 1st down and 20 play. So it will now be 2nd down and about 16 as Leon Seals, 96, made the stop.
Don, once again, 2nd down and about 14 yards, and Buffalo, because Denver's had so much luck against their nickel package, staying with their straight defense.
8:55 to play first half. Broncos lead the game 7-0. Elway dumps it off to Sewell, who's on the run. And Steve Sewell breaks it. He's got a first down and more as he's out across the 35-yard line. Tremendous execution by the Broncos on 2nd down, and they needed about 16. They get 22.
This is a well-conceived play because Steve Sewell starts out helping the offensive left tackle block on Bruce Smith, and that fools the defense. And then once he gets by there, see the linebackers drop off. This is well executed by the Denver Broncos. He outruns Jeff Wright, the nose tackle. Once he turns upfield, big first down. Huge play by Denver.
Doug Waddell gave him a lot of blocking too. He led the way. So the Broncos go 1st down and 10. Elway sees that there's no completion there, that if he hit his receiver, he's been hit for a loss. So he wisely grounds the ball, but within the rules. It's an incomplete pass. He had no intention of completing that.
Tried the slip screen, and he could see that, watch 97 is Cornelius Bennett. He's right out there, so Elway just sacrifices the play, throws it into the ground. Hey, we go back, try another one. I think that's part of the maturity of John Elway. He now does things like that to protect him and also to help the team.
Since he's been the starter, the Broncos have won 72 games, lost 38, and tied 1. Elway's caught, but he gets away. Throws downfield and makes the connection. Vance Johnson makes a diving reception. Darrell Talley had him and lost him as Elway eluded the rush again. Dallas now trailing the Giants 10-3. Miami continues to lead the Steelers by 2 touchdowns. Packers got a field goal, still trail at Pontiac, Michigan. No changes in those 2 scores. Colts up on the Eagles, Tampa Bay up on the Vikings.
Well, so far the Buffalo Bills defense has done very little to slow down Denver. They are using all of their game plan to this point, Don.
A lot of times they've been close to getting him, but Elway eludes him. Here's a run, and it's good yardage up the middle on first down, a gain of almost 5 yards. Shane Conlon makes the stop on Bobby Humphrey, who crossed midfield.
And that's the secret. You just said it. Gets good yards on first down. Jeff Wright he's out of the ball game now. There's something wrong with him, we'll find out. Hunter is in the ball game, 98, but that first down yardage by the Denver offense has really put the Buffalo Bills defense in trouble.
3rd inning at Fenway. Blue Jays lead the Red Sox 4-1. Toronto wins. They'd be back to within 1 game of the leader in the American League East. 2nd down and 6 now for the Broncos. They lead 7-0. Their touchdown came on the opening drive of the game.
Look at
Humphrey, 200 pounds, but he runs with a ton of power. Breaking tackles. Leonard Smith finally knocked him down. First down, Broncos.
Oh, this is so far I give the game ball to the offensive line of the Denver Broncos. This is the counter, and you see Carlton Bailey, 54, missed the tackle. Humphrey picks up another first down, and he's very close to 100 yards rushing with 6:06 to go in the first half.
No Bronco runner has ever rushed for 100 yards against the Bills.
Never had, I think might be the right word.
Right now, he just did. Bobby Humphrey is over 100 yards in the first half rushing against the Bills. Game clock down to 5:45 to play. Darryl Talley was on the stop on a first down carry. Humphrey's down to the 38-yard line.
This is remarkable. They are getting such a great push up front, the Denver Broncos offensive line. Let's give them credit. Karts, Wydell, Jariga, Lanier, and Perry. Man, they are really shoving Buffalo all over the field.
Bobby Humphrey's confident. He says, every time I touch the ball, I believe something big's going to happen. Humphrey again. This time they get him. Shane Conlon, a Pro Bowl backer, shot the gap and made the tackle. Gain of only about a yard on the play on 2nd down and 5. 3rd and 3. Jeff Wright came out just to get a little rest. The nose tackle for the Bills. They switched some people. Now Conlon comes out as the pass coverage unit goes in.
Okay, this is where Denver has really done an outstanding job against this defense with 6 defensive backs. No, they've changed. Buffalo. It's still 6 defensive backs. This is where they've really eaten them up, Don.
The dimension here that is that Elway scrambling. Big rush. Coming hard was Bruce Smith. Sewell was open, but Elway couldn't find the mark. Upset with himself. Bruce Smith was right on Elway, though, busting through, and that brings up 4th down and 4, and they send their punter out, Mike Horan.
Sewell was the hot receiver there, Don, and when there was pressure on John Elway, here's Sewell right here. He just runs a little flat, but Bruce Smith, you get an awful lot of pressure on him.
High punt downfield. Bills let it go, and it hops into the end zone for a touchback. Broncos had good coverage down to try and down the ball, but it bounced away from them.
Again, back to that last play. Here's Steve Sewell, and what they're trying to do is pick one of these guys and get Sewell out here in the flat. But unfortunately, there was so much pressure from Bruce Smith that Elway couldn't really come through on the pass and make the completion.
So the Bills will try again from their 20 with 4:23 to play in the first half.
Listen to my nephew. He's going to be a lawyer like me.
We could have more rain today in NFL Live. The headline stories: Victor Cayenne, the owner of the Patriots, said he'd make changes in team management. Will McDonough speculating that general manager Patrick Sullivan could be relieved of his duties. Lisa Olson, who was harassed in the locker room, says she knows who the other players were who were involved, in addition to tight end Zeke Moab. We'll be going to NFL Live at halftime as Jim Kelly looks to throw on first down. Downfield throw. His receiver fell on the break. Andre Reed, and the ball came in low. 2nd and 10.
All right, the offensive game plan of the Bills not working. at all. Not a bit. His numbers 5 of 12 for 67 yards. It just, they got to get Thurman Thomas in this ball game. There's Marv Levy
looking for answers. Coach Levy. Denver's had problems holding leads, though. As mentioned earlier, they led Seattle 28-14 in the fourth quarter last Sunday.
Look at that number. Oh,
needed overtime to win. Swing pass. Thurman Thomas gets a block.
Fumble.
Loses the ball. Buffalo has it at the 21-yard line. Jim Richard, the left guard, fell on the ball. 51.
I don't know how to account for Buffalo after a stellar performance against the New York Jets last week, and also, speaking of revenge against the Denver Broncos, all week here in Buffalo, to come out and play less than stellar. I mean, home crowd, home field. This is a place where they've been spectacular over the last couple of 3 years, and to this point, Don, there's no other way to look at it. They are flat.
They've lost 2 games here, have the Bills, since the start of the '88 season. Over 2 seasons, just 2 losses at home. Third down throw by Jim Kelly, intercepted by Atwater. Steve Atwater picks it off. He looked like a wide receiver, and he's down to the 30-yard line. James Lofton, the intended receiver. So the Broncos strike on defense, get a second Bill turnover. .309 to play in the first half.
Here's Atwater, and this is the value of Atwater. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs, and Atwater, watch him find this ball. He's reading Jim Kelly's eyes. They're just playing zone. What a play. And what a player.
And what field position for the Broncos, who have the ball at the Buffalo 30, first down and 10. 7-0 Denver. Ball was caught. They're going to rule he caught it at the 5-yard line. I thought a penalty marker was thrown, but it wasn't. Humphrey did a tremendous job picking up the blitz for Denver. A blitzer came in Elway, and Humphrey decked him.
Kirby Jackson was the man in coverage, and this is the most incidental contact I've seen. There's Darryl Talley just flooring John Elway. But at the end of this play, Kirby Jackson and Vance Johnson get tangled up. Johnson stays with it and makes another. All the big plays on Denver's side so far.
Now they go first and goal from just outside the 5-yard line. Humphrey down close to the 2-yard line. Terrific play from the offensive front of the Broncos. Keith Kartz at center, Jariga and Wydell at the guards, Perry and Lanier the tackles. Tight end Clarence Kay, and Orson Mobley's been in a lot. Dan Reeves down to his playing weight. He's never looked better. Looks like he's ready to get his ankles taped and go and throw one of those halfback option passes he used to throw for Coach Landry.
I'm not sure he'd want to do that. It takes more than being in good shape to play this game nowadays. These guys are nuclear powered. When he played, it was diesels, but these guys are nuclear. Of course, Marv Levy never played the game.
Actually, he's a good college running back, Marv Levy. 2-minute warning is given. With the free trade agreement with Canada, the Buffalonians talking proud.
Not about the performance of this football team in the first half.
Today.
I don't understand this.
United Way set to go to another record number. It has one of the highest contributors to the United Way of any campaign in America, under the aegis of Robert M. Bennett. Second down and goal now for Denver, and they call a timeout.
This is like a basketball timeout, you know. You go out there in the last play of the game, see what defense they got, go back and design another play.
So Coach Reeves is going to talk it over with his quarterback, John Elway. These guys are doing it all right. Keep on doing what you're doing, John, says Reeves.
2 arch-rival breakfast cereals.
Total. Kellogg's just right.
Both high-nutrition cereals. So what?
Half of the doubleheader. Cleveland at Kansas City or Houston at San Diego. Jets play at New England. Check your local listings for the doubleheader game in your area on NBC Sports. In the opening game here at Buffalo, it's 7-0 Denver. Very shortly, we have 2 minutes to play in the first half. We'll be joining Will and Bob and O.J. We'll jump off the picture board into live action with an update on all that's going on around the NFL. Sunday number 4. 2nd and goal, Denver. Touchdown, Broncos. On a slant counter play, Steve Sewell goes in. And the Broncos extend their lead over the favored Bills to 13-0.
You could see what John Elway was doing there. It's an audible at the line of scrimmage and a nice trap. That's Jariga 66 with a big kick out block. And Sewell has no one in front of him. It's an easy score. Nice block also by one Bobby Humphrey, who has played a nice all-around game. Sewell scores and Humphrey blocks.
A bit of an understatement. A nice all-around game. Humphrey has been absolutely extraordinary. He's over 100 yards rushing, and now he's blocking like a tiger. And the extra point is good, and so the Broncos extend their lead to 14-0.
The locker room of the Buffalo Bills, going to be a lot of yelling and screaming in there because the Bills have come nowhere close to playing good football.
Long way to go, though, as the Bills run it back. Out across the 25-yard line, rookie Al Edwards takes it. He's out to the 27. Now Kelly will come out pitching with a no-huddle offense. 1:51 to play in the first half. Total domination of the Denver Broncos. 238 yards offense to 84 for the Bills.
That's amazing. And Bobby Humphrey over 100 yards rushing. I mean, the Bills have done very little offensively today to help their defense.
Kelly from the shotgun floods the defense with receivers, stands in, and he's going to be in trouble as he's knocked down at the 20.
Again, great coverage by Denver.
Oh, they're really ready. Defensive coordinator Wade Phillips has everybody tuned to what the Bills are going to do.
Right back to the line of scrimmage they go.
Fletcher coming hard. Kelly stands in. Ball is tipped. Almost intercepted. It's on the field, incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
Randy Robbins was right there with Thurman Thomas, number 48. But this 4-7 defense that Denver is showing is giving Buffalo no opportunity to complete passes. They're doubling every receiver, Don.
It looks like the Broncos have 15 guys out there.
Yeah.
They're doubling everybody. They're playing with 11. Here's Kelly on 3rd down. He needs 17. Open man, James Lofton. 1st down, Bills out to the 41-yard line. So the combination of Kelly to Lofton connects again. A big play on 3rd down. They needed 17. They got 21, and the Bills call a timeout.
Kip Corrington on the coverage, and again, it looked like zone on top and man underneath, and Lofton got back there. Miami, another score now, 21-0 over Pittsburgh.
Giants extend their lead over Dallas to 14 points at halftime. A big surprise in Pittsburgh, where there is trouble brewing with no offense. Philadelphia has now rallied and gone out in front of Indianapolis. Tampa Bay continues to lead Minnesota. Doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Many of you will be seeing the Browns go to Kansas City to go against their old coach Marty Schottenheimer, now the head man of the Chiefs.
9 a.m. until 30 minutes after the game.
Scott Norwood getting ready for a possible field goal try. Toronto continues to lead Boston in American League Baseball. The Cubs over the Mets 2-0.
Lost there, and the Pirates win. They're presently guaranteed no less than a tie for the Eastern Division.
1st down. Kelly stands in, throws it up the middle of the field. He gets his man down Smith, and then the Broncos come pounding on the ball. These Broncos are really tackling today.
But the Broncos are in the prevent mode here. They're going to make sure every reception is in front of a defender.
The Bills come out of this first half with points. It'll be a big step. Here is a throw, and it's dropped. Wide open for the interception was Elliott Smith. Kelly is really rough, so that time he gunned it, and the Broncos again had a man right where he had to be. It did stop the clock.
He's throwing on the run.
Hit him in a bad place, Trump. Right in the hands.
Ball is intended for Andre Reed, and he was not open.
Here's an up back, and it's taken by Don Smith as the Bills take it down to the 40-yard line. They go to their bag of tricks. 52 seconds to play.
Plenty of time. No reason to rush or hurry.
It's not a bad idea, though, with the clock running and 45 seconds to play. Here's an outlet pass, and Thurman Thomas takes his eye off the ball. Almost a good play to drop it, believe it or not, for this reason. There was defenders right there to nail him. He'd only gained about 2 yards, and the incomplete stops the clock. Second down. Kelly looks, dumps it off. This is down Smith. He's going to be able to get out of bounds if he plays it right. He did not. Stayed in bounds. Now Kelly calls a timeout.
And you never try to look at a running back and say he made the wrong choice, but Smith was trying for the touchdown there. Wyman Henderson finally makes the tackle. If he gets out of bounds, boy, they're in great shape. But this is a beautifully executed play. You see Smith standing right there on the right of the screen. Richer, 51. The offensive guard is out in front of him. Henderson just gets a glove on him. Well, I'm not so sure if he can stay on his feet, he doesn't score. But the important thing there is get out of bounds. You don't fight for inches. You try to save seconds.
Ball is spotted at the 24-yard line. You'll remember the difficulty they had kicking the field goal earlier. NFL Live is coming up with Costas, McDonough, and Simpson. So we have 31 seconds to play here in Buffalo. One of the biggest NFL crowds of the season, 80,000. Buffalo, a continuing leader of the NFL in attendance. Virtually every year they're either at or near the top. Out pattern, ball is caught. Look at that strike put on by an angry Elliott Smith. Al Edwards caught the ball. 16 seconds left. Kelly downs the ball, stopping the clock with 15 seconds to play.
And you see how important getting out of bounds, how much it would have helped there. Boy, if Smith had taken that ball out of bounds as opposed to going for that extra few feet, Broncos would be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, you wonder when you see a hurry-up offense like this go right through the other team, why they don't come out running it.
Well, that's because the defense is not playing the same mindset. Look at this. Can't get out of bounds there. That cost him a timeout. Smith catches the ball in bounds. That cost him a timeout.
They called Elliott Smith one a day in the spring and the summer drills. He was catching so many interceptions, but he missed that one, and now the Bills get an incomplete pass with 11 seconds to play, and they'll not chance anything else on third down. They'll try the field goal, thinking here if there's a bad snap, they can just down the ball and get another shot at it on third down.
For those of you out there who don't like the prevent defense, you just saw the prevent defense work.
Yeah.
You'll give them 3 points. You don't want to give them a touchdown.
Be interesting to see what the wind is still very strong, and the holder's a quarterback, Frank Reich. It's not inconceivable he could get up and throw it. It's third down. 11 seconds left. They go to the kick, and Norwood this time drills it up and good. So the Bills avert a first half shutout. They get the field goal from Scott Norwood with 6 seconds to play. It's a 14-3 game, Denver. Denver went 80 yards the first time it had the ball today. A sustained drive, 12 plays. Bobby Humphrey in on the payoff end. Then they came back later. And with Steve Sewell from just over a yard out for their second touchdown. Tonight, kick off the evening on NBC with the funniest and hottest news show of the season, Hull High. Playing the Buffalo theme song, Let's Go Buffalo, but Buffalo isn't going too much in this game. They moved the ball at times, but then something stopped the drive. Denver coming in on the road, playing its best game of the season without any question. The Broncos have been sound every aspect of the game.
I see Marv Levy waving furiously there on the sideline. Do you try an onside kick here? I don't think you gain anything with just 6 seconds left, but Marv Levy was waving furiously to Scott Norwood, the kicker.
Scott Norwood. He'll probably bounce it down the field. Try to run out that clock. Bounces it down the field. Picked up by Orson Mobley. What a load he is to knock down. And that'll do it for the first half of play. So the Broncos go to the locker room with some big winnings, a 14-3 lead over the favored Buffalo Bills. We're going now to NFL Live in New York as we're ready to switch there into Bob Costas. Bob?
Okay, Don, thanks a lot. And coming up at halftime here on NFL Live, we'll get an update from New England as the Patriot controversy continues to develop. Will McDonough and O.J. Simpson will also be here as we'll check scores and highlights from around the league. All that just ahead after these messages from your local station.
You look like a guy who'd like a fast million. Well, start your engines.
Involving the New England Patriots. If you were with us on the pregame show, you saw Patriot owner Victor Kiam reiterate his apologies to Boston Herald reporter Lisa Olson, who says she was sexually harassed by several Patriots in the locker room a couple of weeks ago. Now, Kiam not only apologized, but he said that there would be organizational changes. When I asked him directly whether that meant that GM Pat Sullivan's job was in jeopardy, he sidestepped the issue. We're going to go up to Foxborough right now. Bob Lobel works for our NBC station in Boston, WBZ. Can you give us a bit more, Bob?
Well, Bob Costas, Victor Kiam continues to act like Victor the Dancing Bear. He is Victor the Dancing Owner at the moment. He does sidestep the question when you asked him directly, have you fired General Manager Patrick Sullivan? He says, I'm going to meet with Patrick Sullivan. I'm going to talk with the commissioner. I have a number of options. I have some decisions to make. But we feel basically that the least that'll happen is that Patrick Sullivan will be suspended. Maybe Kiam wants to make it so uncomfortable for him that Pat himself may quit. Be that as it may, Patrick Sullivan is being held accountable for this, and Victor Kiam is publicly flogging him to the press, saying that had he known about this immediately, he never would have put his foot in his mouth. Well, be that as it may, most people feel the way Patrick Sullivan handled this, although it was handled badly, he was trying to protect Victor Kiam from Victor Kiam, who in the end did throw gasoline on the fire that exploded and engulfed everybody.
Yeah, in a nutshell, Kiam is saying that he didn't realize the severity of the situation. Consequently, he trivialized it, made statements he shouldn't have, and he's holding his messengers responsible.
Well, it sounds like a public relations concoction. You have the aggrieved party, Lisa Olson, apologize to her. You have your players come forward and give their accountability and their responsibility, the other ones in the incident, and you yourself fire the people in public. It sounds like a classic political campaign strategy.
The Boston Herald and some other groups have called for a fan boycott of today's game between the Patriots and Jets. Is that having any impact?
I doubt it, Bob. Most people are here to see a football game. They're not interested in social issues. And you'll get a reaction at halftime when Victor Kiam comes out for the John Hannah Day festivities. They'll be retiring his number, long overdue, I might add. But I think their reaction to Victor Kiam may reflect directly on the performance of their team in the first half. If they're getting blown out by the Jets, Kiam will get booed. If they're beating the Jets, he'll still get booed, but not by that much.
Bob, thanks very much. Bob Lobel of WBZ in Boston. Let's turn to Will McDonough now of the Boston Globe. And, of course, Kiam has dual concerns. His football team, this is a public relations disaster, and I assume he sincerely is sorry that there was misconduct on the part of his players. But there's also a threatened boycott of Remington products. He owns that company. With the Christmas season coming up, and some women's groups are saying, hey, you can't throw your money in this man's direction after the situation he's been involved in. So he wants to clear the air on that, too.
Well, sure he does, because I was talking to Victor the other day, and he told me that like 100% of his business at Remington is done between October 1st and through the Christmas season. So if the boycott was really effective, he would stand to lose millions and millions of dollars. But, Bob, here's what surprises me. I know, because Kiam told me this week, that Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner, told him, Victor, calm down. We're going to handle it our way. I will appoint a special counsel. Incidentally, that special counsel is going to come from the Harvard Law School faculty and be announced in the next few days. And we will set up a situation where everybody can be brought in. We'll hear the side of everybody's story, but we'll let it calm down, and we'll do it in the right way. And that hasn't happened. If anything, the thing exploded today on the show.
You got to assume that the folks at the public relations firm, Howard Rubenstein's company in New York City, told him, you can't wait that long. You've got to squelch this because of the ramifications beyond football, the economic ramifications. You got to make a move right now to disassociate yourself from this.
But that's pure speculation between you and me right now.
Absolutely.
But the irony here is I spoke to Pat Sullivan for about 30 minutes on the phone Friday night, and he said to me in part of his comments that Zeke Mowat was the fall guy. Now the irony again is that Pat Sullivan looks like he can be the fall guy.
There's no question that Mowat did what she alleges he did. The other players back that
Bob,
up.
don't say that. You can't say that. We have to wait until you hear what the special counsel, and Mowat is going to see Tagliabue this Thursday and speak for himself.
Unfortunately, we got to leave it at that. More food for thought. And we're back with the scores and highlights right after this.
Guys.
Bob Costa's back along with Will McDonough and O.J. Simpson. Let's quickly check on the halftime scores for you. In the game you're watching, Denver is out in front of Buffalo 14-3. Bobby Humphrey with 100 yards in the first half alone, the third consecutive week he's gone over 100. Dallas is playing at the Giants, and New York is comfortably in front of the third quarter, 17-3. Lawrence Taylor with the injured hamstring did start the game for the Giants. Mark Bavaro with a variety of injuries sits it out. Raul Alegre, the kicker, has been hurt. They've signed the former Cleveland Brown, the veteran Matt Barr. He kicked a 34-yard field goal. Phil Simms a couple of touchdown passes. Giants lead at 17-3 early in the third. Miami is playing at Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game. They're all lowlights from Pittsburgh's perspective. That banner in reference to Joe Walton, the new offensive coordinator. Pittsburgh does not have an offensive touchdown yet after 3.5 games. Here's Sammy Smith diving over from the 1, capping a 17-play, 73-yard drive early. Now watch this play out of punt formation. They snap it to the up man, Jim Jensen, the versatile veteran. He hits Ferrell Edmonds. It keeps the drive alive, a 30-yard gain, and it sets up Sammy Smith's second touchdown of the day. This is in the second quarter. He'll go over from the 7, and Miami takes the lead at 14-0. Later, it was Marino, 35 yards to Mark Clayton to make it 21-0. The defense has also done it. This is the third time on the day that Bubby Brister was sacked. Jarvis Williams got it. Gary Anderson kicked a 46-yard field goal just before halftime to ensure that the Steelers will not be shut out, but they trail 21-3. Green Bay is playing at Detroit. Don Mikowski has a 3-yard touchdown pass to Ed West. It's his first TD pass of the year, but Detroit has just scored early in the second quarter, and pending the extra point, well, they kicked it even as I spoke. They go up 14-10 late in the second quarter. Indianapolis at Philadelphia. This game goes to halftime. Randall Cunningham has a couple of touchdown passes, 35 yards to Keith Jackson, 21 yards to Fred Barnett. And with Jack Trudeau at quarterback in place of the injured Jeff George, and of course still without Eric Dickerson, the Colts facing the possibility of going to 0-4, trailing at the half, 17-10. And Tampa Bay is playing at Minnesota. The score there, 10-3 in favor of the Buccaneers at the half. O.J.?
Once again, we go back to Buffalo. 2 weeks ago, they play an emotionless game against Miami. They get blown out. Last week on Monday night, with the glitter of Monday night and everyone asking what's wrong with the Bills, they play a great game. And what was wrong with them? Hey, they played with emotion. Now, will they come out today against the AFC champion Denver Broncos? You would think they'd be sky high. And once again, a flat first half, emotionless football.
That's what I saw, Juice. And Bob, let me tell you something. I think this half is critical for the Buffalo Bills. If you're going to go to the Super Bowl, and Buffalo has those thoughts, I think you have to go through Denver in the AFC. Now, if they lose today, they'll not only be a game behind, 3-1 or 2-2, right? They also would give up the home field advantage.
Yeah, this is a tiebreaker game.
That's right. It's a tiebreaker game. So it almost like puts them 2 games behind. So I think it's critical for them to rally to get in it if they're going to think about a Super Bowl.
I will. O.J., as for all of you, we'll see you later in the day. Let's send it back to the field right now and rejoin Don Criqui. Don?
Thank you, Bob. As you see the numbers, 14-3 here at Rich Stadium before 80,000. Joined by Mr. Bob Trumpy, former All-Pro tight end of the Cincinnati Bengals. At the outset of the day, we talked about this being a very big game, Trump, and we've got one team that's playing big-time football.
Denver has certainly played to the big game caliber that they need to. Buffalo has not come close. The Denver Broncos' first-half performance here, probably the best they've had in years. They just have made no mistakes, and they started with the opening drive, 80 yards, and here's the end result. Bobby Humphrey for the first score. He had 100 yards rushing in the first half. I mean, Buffalo has done nothing to even slow them down. Then the second score, a big block by Jariga, 66, and Humphrey, 26, and Sewell scores. They have gone up and down the field against Buffalo.
One of the problems the Broncos have had this season is getting leads and then holding them. As we mentioned, they've led the last 2 weeks in the fourth quarter against Kansas City and Seattle, and then had a rally to win the game. We'll see if Buffalo can come back. Buffalo did move the ball well at the late stage of the first half, throwing the ball on every down.
Yeah, but I do think you have to somewhat discount that because that was the prevent defense by Denver. It's going to take a major mind shift in the Buffalo Bills in order for them to get back in this football game.
Well, there could be some broken blackboards in there.
Yes, I'm sure there's some
chairs
dents and some lockers. Yes, no question about that. But they've done very little. I mean, gaining yards for 3 points at the end of the first half is nice. But that's what the defense wants you to do. They'll give you the 3 points. If you look at the numbers, time of possession, total yards, yards rushing, first down, everything is the Denver Broncos. This is the way Buffalo played last Monday night against the New York Jets. Now, why Buffalo has played in his first half like they were out to lunch, I have no idea.
Well, Bobby Humphrey had a great first half. The Denver runner had 100 yards rushing, but Elway made some just sensational plays when there wasn't anything there. I remember that third down and 6 play. Receivers were shut off. The rush was on. Off he goes in a 13-yard run to keep the scoring drive alive. Now you see the numbers. Thurman Thomas came in as the NFL's leading rusher with 315 yards through 3 games.
Oh, wait a minute. That's 20 carries, isn't it, for 100 yards?
Yeah, 20 carries for Bobby Humphrey for 100 yards. He's getting 5 a pop. Terrific player, Bobby Humphrey. 2-time All-American for the Crimson Tide. There is Thurman Thomas. Do not discount this man.
Well, they got to get it going.
A weapon ready to explode at any time.
This opening drive of the second half for the Buffalo Bills is it. They're either in this game or out of it on this drive.
Treadwell sees the ball blow off the kicking tee. The wind, the flag's been straight out all day. It's a swirling wind blowing primarily across the field. Treadwell's been a terrific kicker for the Denver Broncos. As we mentioned, he went to the Pro Bowl. He's won the Broncos' last 2 games with field goals against Seattle and Kansas City on the last play.
That may be the first thing that's happened good for the Buffalo Bills today.
Treadwell moves into the ball, hits it downfield. A line drive could be tough to handle. It's picked up nicely at the 10-yard line by Don Smith. Bill's got a big return out of it as Smith is across the 40 and all the way out to the 47-yard line. So Buffalo on a line drive kick gets the very good return of 37 yards from Don Smith. And the Bills do indeed, Trump, start out with good field position on what you've termed an all-important drive.
Absolutely. Atwater makes the tackle, and this is the way you set the tone for a half. When your special teams can get you great field position, and the offense goes out there and say, all right, now we got to get it done this time. There's Atwater finally getting him down.
So Kelly with a new formation, a power set right. He goes to Thurman Thomas, and another big play as Mecklenburg shot the gap. Also on the play was the nose tackle Greg Cragen. 71 made the head-on hit. Standout defense by the Broncos again.
Now the only explanation I can give for the lack of running in the first half is the replacement of Will Wolford. He's not in there. You got Parker, Glenn Parker, the rookie, playing left tackle, but that can't be all of it.
Kelly on 2nd down and 10, an out pattern. It's incomplete at the 41-yard line. Dennis Smith, an enforcer, got there just as the ball did, made the hit right at the opportune moment. The intended receiver was Thurman Thomas out of the backfield. So now the Bills find themselves 3rd and long, 3rd and 10.
And Denver has won this matchup every single down. There's Marv Levy. Denver's coming in with the extra defensive backs. Buffalo with the extra wide receivers. And this has not worked. Buffalo has gotten very little. There's Wade Phillips with
Lofton.
Brooks on the sideline.
James Lofton to the lower portion of the screens, the guy that Kelly's been going to. Kelly's not going to anybody unless he can get it away. He does get it to Smith. And he's down to the 46-yard line as the Broncos are hitting 3 and 4 times on the tackle. Wyman Henderson, the right cornerback, made the first pop.
That's 3 downs,
short.
3 downs and out.
After starting at their 47-yard line. Vance Johnson is back. There he is, number 82, the Vance. Rick Tootin called in to punt. Buffalo changed punters after the debacle against the Miami Dolphins. Tootin hits it high downfield. And Vance is forces into a fair catch at his 12-yard line. So Johnson with a fair catch. The Broncos have the ball, but they start deep in their own end, open their play from scrimmage in the third quarter.
It's going to be interesting if there's any defensive change here by the Buffalo Bills. Not personnel, but if they go to the blitz a little more and commit a few more guys to the line of scrimmage, which if they do, I think that's exactly what John Elway, Dan Reeves would like to see. Humphrey has just run up the gut an awful lot, over and through a lot of Buffalo Bills.
The offensive line blocking has been masterful by these Denver Broncos. Humphrey right back at it. Marker comes in as Humphrey is dropped for no gain. Ray Bentley, number 50, makes the stop. Marker down. Bills are signaling a hold. That's what Bob McElwee is signaling. It's usually better when he does it, the official ruling.
There's Walt Corey in the glasses and the hat. He's the defensive coordinator.
A lot of guys keeping charts over there. Referee's mic apparently not working. Bills are declining the penalty. 2-yard gain, so they'll go. Will the Broncos? Second down and 8. They lead 14-3 early in the third quarter.
Audible here by Elway.
Humphrey. And he's very close to a first down as he got out to the 21-yard line. He'll be about a yard short. Ray Bentley and Darrell Talley, right side backers, made the stop.
Now the offensive line of the Denver Broncos really taking care of the center of this Buffalo Bill defense. Watch the center Karts and the 2 guards. Really doing a good job of shoving people all over the place. Nice little spot for Humphrey to run there.
He needs just over 2. That's a tough play call. They might throw. They go to Humphrey. He squirms, and did he get there? It'll be 10 on the spot. The linesman comes in, and it appears where he came in, Trump, he's going to have it. Looks like he's going to have it.
Yeah, you never know about these.
Jeff Wright, the nose tackle, had some big problems in the first half with Denver's offensive blocking, but he shed the block there and made the hit on Humphrey.
One of the things that, Buffalo's defense is a one-gap defense. That is, it is a first down for Denver. It's a one-gap defense. And a one-gap defense is a defensive player is assigned a gap, and that's the one he's responsible for. Well, Denver has done a great job of audibling to the back of that slant. And Humphrey, when he gets to the center, there's nobody there.
So the Broncos now set up first down and 10. Elway, long ball, going for it, and it's intercepted, picked off by Kirby Jackson. He's across the 40 and out to the 49-yard line. Bruce Smith ought to get credit for that interception. He was in Elway's face, and he had to loft the ball. It hung, and Jackson was right on it.
Intended for Sewell. Excuse me, intended for Jackson. Mark Jackson, and you're right, Don. The ball underthrown. That's one of the few times that Bruce Smith has been a factor in this game so far. There you see right inside Perry. And that's Denver's second turnover. Kirby Jackson makes the interception, and now the offense has got to get going here for Buffalo.
Temperature dropping a bit. It's in the 50s. Very good playing conditions, although that wind is going to affect long balls and long kicks. Bills pick up the blitz. Here's the throw. Thurman Thomas, you'll remember the one he dropped in the first half. He's right on this one, and he's out to the cross midfield of the 45-yard line. Fans calling for a late hit.
Yeah.
Michael Brooks knocked him down.
I think Buffalo can accomplish something with this kind of offense. That is, don't try to go deep. Just keep getting it to the running backs just over the line of scrimmage on the pass. That seems to be the open spot here in this Bronco defense.
Kelly, 2nd and 4. Another dump off. Thurman Thomas, both hands on the ball. He's ahead for a Bills first down at the 39-yard line of Denver.
You see, what's happening is the linebackers of the Broncos, watch Simon Fletcher. Well, you couldn't really see him, but they're dropping back about 12 or 14 yards. And I think Thomas will be open underneath that linebacker coverage a lot. Then he's got to break that first tackle.
Well, you have to think, Trump, the Bills took a lot away from that closing drive in the second quarter when everything worked throwing the ball, setting up the field goal. He is going to pressure Kelly on these short drops. Another short drop. Pump fake. Now he's looking deep. He bought some time, but he's running out of it. Downfield throw, and he throws it away. He had a man in the general vicinity of the ball on the play. Keith McKellar at tight end.
I think his receivers ran the wrong patterns. Kelly pumped, and there was nobody in the area where he was pumping to.
You've done that, right?
Yes, I have. Marv Levy, he doesn't call the offense. Ted Marchibroda calls the offense. Hand signaled in from the sideline.
Marchibroda's come under some fire here as not having a creative offense. He had one of the best offensive game plans, both conceptually and in execution, that anybody's seen in a long time. Monday night against the Jets, when the Bills came out and destroyed the Jets. Kelly looks on second down. He's going to take it himself. Jim Kelly gets inside the 35-yard line. Dallas Cowboys hanging right in against the Giants. They just scored, did the Cowboys, in an Emmitt Smith run, and they trail 17-10. Miami, Pittsburgh got 6 points. What's happening here? As we check the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Detroit and Green Bay in a battle at Pontiac, Michigan. The Eagles continue to lead the Colts. Buccaneers continue to lead the Vikings at Minneapolis. And here in Western New York, the Denver Broncos lead the Bills 14-3. Third down. Bills need just about 4. Kelly's in trouble. He gets out of it, lost the ball, picked it up, but they're taken out of field position for a field goal try.
Nobody to throw to. Absolutely no one. Townsend finally gets Kelly. But you can't blame this on Jim Kelly. Look at him look desperately all over the place. They are doubling every receiver. He has nobody to go to.
Rick Tootin on the field to punt now for the Bills. Hits a high spiral, a well-placed punt. They'll let it roll, and it does hop in. A touchback, and the Broncos will get it at their 20-yard line with 9 minutes and 29 seconds to play in the third quarter. Broncos holding to a 14-3 lead. So Elway and company set to go to work in a moment.
The Toyota versus the Isuzu standard pickup. If Earth were invaded by giant reptiles, which would be better?
Isuzu. For features, styling, and price, there's no comparison. By Canon cameras and the new Canon EOS Rebel. And by Hertz. We never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheels.
And we're set to go as the Broncos line up first and 10 at their 20. Sun breaks through, and the handoff goes to Bobby Humphrey. 2 tough yards for Humphrey, who's an upright runner, takes a lot of hard hits, but he comes right back. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle, stopped him, along with Darryl Talley, 56.
Not as upright this year as he was last year, in my opinion. He's got that forward lean a little bit, so the hits he takes are on his shoulder pads and not in his chest and in his stomach.
Humphrey coming off his 2 best career games back-to-back, 127 and 132 yards rushing against KC and Seattle. Now he's going to probably have his best game ever today. He had 100 yards in the first half. Hard throw by Elway, and a nice breakup by Kirby Jackson. Came right into the right moment. Knocked the ball away from Vance Johnson.
Don, there is something here on the positive side for Buffalo. They're shutting down the first down yardage of the Denver Broncos and putting Denver in a tough spot. That was a second down and about 8. And that's when you can go with the pass rush, although Denver is going with the 3-step stuff. Now, again, here's this formation that the Buffalo Bills have had great difficulty with. 4 wide receivers and 6 defensive backs on their side of the ball.
Third down. John Elway and the Broncos need 7. Big rush, and down to 3 ball. Buffalo has it at the 10-yard line, and that... Smith came in from the blind side and put the knockout punch on John Elway, freeing the ball.
Here's Bruce Smith right here, and it's just a bull rush that gets to John Elway and bounces the ball loose. Great quickness.
Darryl Talley recovers the ball.
Again, he goes around Gerald Perry like Gerald Perry is not even there. That's why you teach quarterbacks to hold that ball in 2 hands, Don. Elway had it in 1. It's knocked loose.
The Bills now at their deepest penetration of this game, starting this drive at just outside the Denver 10. Nice play fake by Kelly. Lots of time, but nobody open. Here's the rush. There's the throw. And he had nobody to go to again. Terrific defensive coverage by the Broncos.
Good play action fake. Held everybody at the line of scrimmage defensively, but coming into this game, I think that the Broncos were worried about Elliott Smith and Wyman Henderson, but watch the coverage. They're just, watch Andre Reed at the top of the screen. The defensive back falls, but Kelly never sees him. He finally just throws it away.
Now bright sunshine hitting the field as the Bills look on second down and goal from the 10-yard line. Kelly faking. He's looking. He's in trouble, and he's knocked down for a loss at the 12-yard line. A tremendous moral victory for the Broncos if they can limit Buffalo to a field goal or less on this drive. Reagan and Fletcher were on the staff.
Again, great pressure, but this is a coverage sack. You can see the cornerback Wyman Henderson 24 had bump and run on James Lofton. Man, I'm telling you, this is as good a defensive effort as I've seen Denver make.
Very big down now. The Bills have it. Third down and goal from the 12-yard line.
A draw would work here. A draw would work here. There it is.
Down they go to the goal line. It's a touchdown. Trump, you had it all the way. A draw would work, and a draw it was with Don Smith on the payoff end.
That's the first time they've taken advantage of that defense with the extra defensive backs in the ball game. It was obviously an audible. Watch what happens. You see the 2 safeties switch. They run the trap up the middle, and you've got a 280-pound offensive tackle blocking Atwater. The draw trap works for the score.
So Don Smith comes in and does the job, and now a bad snap. This is big. And it's a 14-9 game.
Goodness.
This could loom large as the game wears on. Adam Linger was the snapper. It got through the hands of Frank Wright. But the Bills have a touchdown. They'll kick off in a moment.